is Jeopardy! Please welcome our contestants. Player 1. Player 2. Player 3. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Brevet.
Thank you, Johnny Gilbert. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Let's take you right now into the Jeopardy round. Clues are worth $200 to $1,000 in these categories. Defined in the OED. First names. Jazz nicknames. I beg your pardon. Intravenous. And classic novel spoilers. Okay, let's get back into this. Player 1, you make the next selection as we continue. Jennifer is a form of this other first name made famous by King Arthur's wife. Let's hear it, Player 1.
Yeah!
Good. You get to pick again, Player 1. Edward Ellington. It's Player 1.
Woo!
Right you are. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. Gerald Ford issued 382 pardons, but the one issued to this man in 1974 is said to have cost Ford the 1976 election. Yes, Player 3? No. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? It's Player 1. Correct. Player 1, back to you. Charlie Parker. Yes, Player 2. Player 2, make a selection, please, as we continue. John Burks Gillespie. Okay, Player 1. Yep. Player 1, start us. Thomas Wright Waller. Here's what we wanted. Fats. Please pick again, Player 1. Julian Adderley. Yes, Player 2. Right. A lot of clues, a lot of categories, Player 2. In 1994, he was pardoned for leading a coup versus the president of Venezuela. By 1999, he was the president. Here's what we were looking for. Hugo Chavez. Player 2, you pick again, please. Swiss scientist creates monster that craves bride. Scientist makes and destroys bride. Scientist dies. Monster mourns. Let's hear it, Player 1. Player 1, make a selection, please, as we continue. This first name, like that of the guy who married Medea, is from a Greek word for healer. Here's the response we were looking for. Jason. Select again. Wild Bill Hickok's real first name was James. This was Buffalo Bill Cody's. Player 1? Yes! Player 1. Pick again. This first name of Miss Marple's creator comes from a word that means good. Player 2. Yeah! Player 2, start us. In 2001, she was pardoned for a 1974 armed bank robbery and for using a firearm during a felony. Player 3? Correct. Hey, you're on the plus side. Player 3, make a selection, please, as we continue. The Wall Street Journal wanted an immediate pardon for him after his perjury conviction in the Valerie Plame case. Here's what we wanted. Scooter Libby. Please pick again, Player 3. As a verb, this first name means to send mail free of charge. It's Player 3. Please pick again, Player 3. The director of an orchestra or chorus. Player 1? Yeah, good. Where do we begin, Player 1? Venus's surface is hard to view from Earth because it's completely covered by these. Yes, Player 2. Right you are. All right, let's get back into this. Player 2 has control. One of these on Venus lasts about 244 Earth ones. Okay, Player 1. Yes. All right, let's get back into this. Player 1. Like Mercury, Venus has this many moons. It's Player 2. Good. A lot of clues, a lot of categories. Player 2. Make us. This Secretary of Defense was pardoned for his role in Iran-Contra. It's Player 2. You are correct. You get to pick again, Player 2. We're not sure if it was ancient or not, but the first U.S. flyby of Venus was by one of these space probes in 1962. Here's the correct response. Mariner. We return to you, Player 2. Galileo's finding that Venus goes through these, like the moon, was the first direct evidence for Copernican ideas. Yes, Player 2. Nope. Sorry. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Player 1? Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Yes, Player 3? That's correct.
Yeah! Woo!
Player 3, you start us off. Raskolnikov murders an old woman. Raskolnikov confesses and is sentenced to 8 years in Siberia. Here's the correct response. Crime and punishment. Player 3, choose again. A lofty tower forming part of a church. Player 1? Right. Player 1, you start us off. Answer, it's the Daily Double. Player 1, you're in last place, but here's an opportunity to catch. How much? All right, here's your clue. A large, many-celled berry with a leathery yellow, orange, or red rind. That's not it. Here's what we were looking for. A pomegranate. Player 1, choose again. A road junction designed so that traffic streams do not intersect. Okay, player 2. No, that's not right. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Yes, player 1? Good. Player 1, pick again. To move from site to site on the internet. Let's hear it, player 1.
Yeah!
Yes. Please pick again, player 1. Constance marries paralyzed Sir Clifford, has an affair with the gamekeeper, gets pregnant, awaits divorce and new life. We're talking about Lady Chatterley's lover. You again, player 1. Heathcliff is raised in the Earnshaw home. Falls for Cathy. Love thwarted. Both die. Let's hear it, player 3. Good.
Yeah! Woo!
Here's the $1,000 clue for you. Itinerant workers George and Lenny dream of owning a ranch. Lenny accidentally kills a girl. George kills Lenny. Let's hear it, player 2.
Oh.
Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Yes, player 3? Ooh, sorry. That's incorrect. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Let's hear it, player 1. That's correct. Player 2 is in third place, which means, of course, player 2 will select first in Double Jeopardy. Categories for the Double Jeopardy round are October 1st, Our World, Conductors, The Human Body, TV Producers, and Spanning the Globe. Where do we begin, player 2? Haiphong, Cam Ranh, and Dong Hoi are all important cities in this country. Player 1? Correct. Where do we begin, player 1? A dishonest or unprincipled man, or one of the X-Men? Player 2. That's correct. Player 2, you start. What the Brits call a Macintosh isn't an apple, but one of these. We're talking about a raincoat. And one of the daily doubles. Player 2, you're in last place, but here's an opportunity to decide on your... Here is your clue. In the movies, it was Charles Foster Kane's cryptic final word. Yes. Player 2, you pick again, please. The Oxford English Dictionary defines it as a noisy dispute or quarrel. It's player 1. No, that's not right. Anyone else? Here's the correct response. A row. Player 2, back to you for our next selection. Here's Sarah.
Similar to a root, it's a botanical term for a thick stem from which shoots develop into new plants.
Okay, player 3. Sorry, that's wrong. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Here's the response we were looking for.
Rhizome.
You again, player 2. The Fairmont in this city's Nob Hill was the exterior used for Aaron Spelling's Hotel TV series. Player 2. You are correct. Player 2, you pick again, please. David Chase created this HBO series and wrote many of its episodes, like Mr. Ruggiero's Neighborhood. It's player 3. Sorry, that's wrong. Anyone else? Let's hear it, player 1. That's not it. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Player 2. Good for you. Select again. He moved from Melrose Place to the East Coast for Central Park West and Sex and the City. Here's the correct response. Darren Star. Please pick again, player 2. 1971. This complex opens near Orlando, Florida. It's player 2. Yes. Player 2, back to you. In concerts, Stokowski would dramatically toss these aside to show that he could conduct from memory. Yes, player 2. Sorry. That's incorrect. Any other takers? Yes, player 3. That's correct. Where do we begin, player 3? Marin Alsop made news in 2005 as the first one of these to lead a major American symphony orchestra. Yes, player 2. Anyone else? Player 3? No, sorry. Anyone else? It's player one.
Yeah!
Good. Player one, where do we start? The part of your eye that looks like a black circle is called this. It's the center of the iris. Yes, player one? Good. We return to you, player one. Otoliths are found in the vestibule of the inner part of this organ. Here's the correct response. The ear. You get to pick again, player one. This main artery of the heart is said to resemble a cane with its arch at the top of the heart. Yes, player three? Good for you. You've got some money again. A lot of clues, a lot of categories, player three. Make us this part of the brain, just above the brain stem, is about the size of an orange. Yes, player two. Right you are. Okay, let's get back into this. Player two, you make the next selection as 1800. Spain cedes this large territory to France. It's player three. No. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Player one? Right. Player one, where do we start? Here's Jimmy. He'll show you.
A low arch can cause the foot to roll inward too much when running, an effect called over this.
Here's the correct response. Pronation. You again, player one. At an altitude of 12,000 feet, this Bolivian city is the highest national capital. Here's what we were looking for. La Paz. Select again. Made from fermented cabbage, radishes, red peppers, and spices, kimchi is the national dish of this land. Yes, player one?
Yeah!
Is correct. Select again. Here's Sarah to start us off.
This St. Petersburg Palace is named for the first Russian empress with this name. The second one was said to be great.
It's player one. Hey, you're right. Select again. This most populous African country's main ethnic groups are the Hausa, Fulani, Igbo, and Yoruba. It's player two. Correct. Player two, you're in command of the board as we continue, right? Willem Mengelberg and Edward van Bynum have been chief conductors of this city's Concertgebouw. Here's what we wanted. Amsterdam. Player two, back to you. An 1831 play by Pushkin recounts an alleged rivalry between Mozart and this composer. Here's what we wanted. Antonio Salieri. Please pick again, player 2. On CDs with Canada's National Arts Centre Orchestra, Pinchas Zuckerman conducts and plays this. It's player 3.
Yeah.
Yes, great, you're back into it now. Player 3, you start us off. 1961. This man hits his 61st homer of the season. Here's what we were looking for. Roger Maris. We return to you, player 3. 1880. John Philip Sousa becomes the leader of this military branch's band. It's player 2. Nope. Anyone else? The correct response is the Marine Corps. Player 3, back to you. In 2003, this Survivor head honcho began conducting a search to give Donald Trump an apprentice. Yes, player 1? Good. Player 1, you're in command of the board. Answer. The other daily double. And you have the lead. So, what's your wager? Here is your clue. He probably has another 6 or 7 Law and Order offshoots on his desk just waiting for network slots. Congratulations, you're still in first, player 1. And the $2,000 clue? 1970, 5 million people turn out in Cairo for his funeral. Here's the correct response. Gamal Abdel Nasser. You all move on to Final Jeopardy, which will continue after these messages. We're back. The category for Final Jeopardy today is 19th century names. What are you going to wager? Let's see what it is. Here's the clue. He got the name by which he's best known because Mexican victims of his attacks would cry out in terror to St. Jerome. What did you put as your response? With that correct response, you will gain. What did you say? And that correct response will add. What did you put as your response? How much do you add to your total with that correct response? This makes you our new champion, player 1, so congratulations. Thanks for playing. We'll see you next time.